By March 2026, the administration's timeline is a blur of extremes: midnight military deployments, naval warships positioned off foreign coasts, and rapid border wall construction. To many observers, this barrage of actions feels like chaotic improvisation. It looks like a presidency operating purely on impulse, lurching from one eruption to the next. Look past the individual headlines, and these foreign standoffs and domestic crackdowns begin to overlap. Together, they form a continuous state of crisis that shifts the boundaries of what the presidency can do in the name of security. Treating this behavior as a series of isolated scandals masks the structural changes taking place. There is an active framework being built, one that uses perpetual emergencies to bypass democratic limits. Modern democracies rarely collapse overnight with tanks rolling down the street. They erode slowly from within. When citizens are kept in a constant state of alarm, whether about border security, street-level crime, or foreign adversaries, they often become more tolerant of expanded executive authority. Fear makes restrictions and power grabs seem like necessary sacrifices for safety. A permanent emergency provides the essential environment for this shift. It offers the legal and psychological cover needed to sideline Congress and disable institutional checks. Abroad, this strategy relies on sustained military escalation, like the ongoing airstrikes against Iran, and the intervention in Venezuela, where U.S. forces captured President Nicolas Maduro to install a managed transition. To bypass a formal declaration of war, the executive branch aggressively stretches decades-old authorizations for use of military force. By interpreting these old statutes broadly, the administration frames nearly any foreign strike as a legally justified act of self-defense. These interventions also serve a transactional purpose. The administration describes the Venezuela operation as a method to secure U.S. access to energy resources, suggesting American companies will be reimbursed directly from the country's oil sector. At home, these ongoing conflicts function as loyalty tests. Critics of the military operations or the use of sanctions are described as weak, disloyal, or aligned with foreign enemies. Foreign policy in this framework creates a cycle of perpetual friction. It provides a constant rationale for the president to demand absolute, unchecked domestic allegiance. Inside the country, that same aggressive posture is driving a massive expansion of the ICE detention network. This chart tracks the 2025 expansion data. In a single year, ICE added roughly 100 new facilities, a 91% jump. On any given day, the agency detains 70,000 people, with capacity reaching toward 135,000 beds. Congress authorized $45 billion to fund this through 2029. Because private contractors are paid through guaranteed bed quotas and per-day rates, there is a financial incentive to hold people for months or years rather than processing them quickly. The result is a warehouse system. Thousands of detainees are confined in overcrowded facilities with limited medical care and almost no access to legal representation. These rapid budget increases build a politically loyal, militarized federal force. ICE leadership and agents know their expanded power and legal protections depend on the administration remaining in office. Constructing an under-regulated detention infrastructure creates a powerful tool. A system built to warehouse undocumented immigrants can be repurposed to confine any group redefined as an internal security threat. To remove internal resistance to these moves, the administration relies on Project 2025, a detailed blueprint for dismantling bureaucratic guardrails. Under the unitary executive theory, which argues the president has sweeping authority over all executive agencies, the administration has moved to fire nonpartisan civil servants. By replacing them with loyalists, the presidency gains direct control over agencies like the Justice Department. Once the executive branch controls regulators like the FCC and antitrust enforcers, it can financially pressure the media. It can block mergers for critical outlets, steer federal advertising money, and reward donor networks that amplify the administration's messaging. Fusing state enforcement power with corporate financial pressure ensures the state faces minimal scrutiny. Critical coverage is chilled, and the narrative of permanent emergency goes largely unchallenged. Despite these visible actions, many citizens tune out. A constant stream of new airstrikes, raids, and scandals creates a sense of background noise, normalizing extreme behavior and numbing the public to the overarching pattern. Corporate news coverage usually treats these events as episodes. A report on the Iran war is followed by a segment on election rules, rarely showing how a single strategy links foreign conflict to domestic control. Relying on the courts or future elections to save the system assumes the damage is not already deep. Democratic decay is designed to be incremental, slowly hollowing out institutions before a single line is visibly crossed. The danger to elections often arrives through soft interference. This involves using emergency declarations and security pretexts to reshape the environment where votes are cast and counted. The specific warning signs are visible in the deployment of federal agents near polling places and the criminalization of routine political opposition under the guise of national security. If these tactics succeed, the country moves away from a pluralistic democracy toward a centralized state, where power is concentrated entirely in the executive. American institutions now face a specific test: their ability to constrain a presidency that functions entirely through a self-perpetuating state of crisis.